Hello once again everyone, this is SynodaMae Sonnenkern and I'm here to see if I can teach y'all how to retexture the latest mod from Avatar mods by Bezzi Velinov. She and I mean, we're experienced modders, but even this avatar can be quite the handful if you really don't know what you're doing, but luckily we do kinda. With so many faces to retexture, this avatar can be intimidating, but with this video I hope I'll be able to help you all out. So with Bezzi's blessing and encouragement, I was given the green light to give you all this tutorial for the basic parts of this avatar, including the back fluff, the tail, the ear, the foot, the leg, the hand, and the head and jaw. So we're just going to go down the line and start off pretty simple, and then we'll gradually work our way up to the most intimidating part of the mod, which is the head and jaw. So as you can see, I have Bezzi and Siri here with me. They're just, yeah, they're just being silly. That's Siri. So let's see, here we have the Sergal V2 back main. And I have here in my inventory selected, oh my gosh, you silly little tail. I'm gonna move this guy back a little bit. I have the textures up and ready to go. So of course, right click edit and your build menu pops up, go to the texture tab. And as you can see, it doesn't say multiple texture on the window. That usually means that there's more than one texture located on the entire object, but it seems to be very consistent from the fluff even to the brick that they have in the back. I'll show you right here. That yellow prim, you can probably barely see it. That's the base prim. That's where everything is linked to, and that's the prim that attaches itself to your avatar. So this one's pretty self-explanatory, very easy. You find the, let's see, head body fuzz. Let's just take a look at that, and you'll have something like this, and I'm sure it's going to be something similar with the pristine mod, but it's the same idea. So with the fluff selected, no edit link parts, just selected in the build menu, in your inventory click and drag the raw head / body fuzz over to the window for the texture, and you'll just drop it and it automatically retextures the entire thing. And that should be easy enough. Hopefully Second Life is cooperating with me and it will stay that way. I've been having some issues today, so apologies if it screws up the video. Alright, onto the tail. The tail, it's, as you can see, it's waggy, it moves around. I'm not wearing my HUD. So like I did in my previous video, I'm going to select it or right click edit the tail and go up to build, scripts, and set scripts to not running, because I don't want that thing moving while I'm trying to retexture. It's just going to be a nightmare. Parts are going to go flying everywhere. It's not a pretty sight. Or you can just disable the wag in your HUD, but like I said, I'm not wearing it. So we're going to look for the raw tail, which is, for me, it's at the very bottom of the folder. And with the build menu up and the tail selected, we're going to edit linked parts, and this is how I do it. I do select face. Now there's going to be multiple faces that you can see and you cannot see. I'll show you how to bring up the invisible ones without using the HUD. That is probably more convenient, but this is how you learn. This is how I learned. So with edit linked parts selected in the build menu as well as select face, I'm going to click directly onto this base tail right here with all this little fluff. I'm going to click directly on it. And I'm going to look for the raw tail texture, which is this one. It's a PNG, so it's a little transparency, don't worry about it. And we're going to click and drag it over to the texture window once more. And as you can see, it textures the entire part. But wait, there's more. To your keyboard, press Ctrl-Alt-T, and that'll make certain textures red. These textures are invisible and can be brought up in the HUD. So for this is the PNG. This is going to be the fluff texture right here going down, which we're not going to mess with just yet. But there is going to be another fluff hidden underneath here once we start texturing the little side fluffs right here. So with this main one already textured, we're going to look for the head and body fuzz. No, here it is, I'm sorry. Raw butt fuzz, tail. It'll specify in parentheses, tail. So this is the texture that's going to go onto the side fluff, whether you're using the fur or the feather mesh attachments. So with select face still enabled and edit linked parts as well, click directly onto the fluff, whichever one you have enabled, the feather or the fluff, and you'll see a couple of circles with little X's or crosses on them. That just means that that face is selected, and if you look to your build menu, it'll say faces 5. So that's how many faces you have selected. That's how many faces are going to be retextured. So with that fluff selected with select face, go back to your inventory and look for the raw butt fuzz tail. And we're going to click and drag it over to the texture window once more and drop it, and it's going to retexture the surfaces we have selected. We're going to do the same to the other side. Just click directly onto the fluff, click and drag the raw butt fuzz tail onto the texture window, and it automatically textures it. Now we're going to work on the bottom half. Well, after we texture these, we have these little fluffs as well. Same idea, click and drag after you've selected them. Select, click and drag. Very easy, you can always go back if I'm going too fast for you. Now if you came under your tail, you're going to see a lot of white, or depending on what color avatar you have. So we're going to select the white, whichever one you see first. So we're going to click on this one directly and use the same texture, the raw butt fuzz. Click and drag, and it retextures a few little fluffs here and there, but as you can see, we still have a few more to retexture. So same thing, click and drag, and that entire side is ready to go. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side. To get this done a little bit faster, you can select more than one face. So when you click one and you want to select more, click Shift on your keyboard. And aw, Bezzi's going to bed. She's going to night-night. She's going night-night. Let's say goodnight to Bezzi, everyone. Night, Bezzi. Oops, Bezzi. And then we'll go ahead and get back to our texturing. And okay, we have this fluff selected. We're going to do the same thing, click and drag over to the window, and that'll retexture that. And we'll just click on the other white fluff, click and drag, and there you go. That entire upper half is completely retextured, except for this red half. Now what is this red half, you might ask? This red half will be the feather option. The feather option, which is invisible, but you'll bring it visible in your HUD for the Kinzart Sergal. I'm not wearing the HUD. I'm not doing that. I don't like the feathers. So if you have your HUD on, look for the tail options and swap it out to feathers or fur, whichever one is visible. And be sure to select it. I have the Control-Alt-T on, so it just makes everything visible, whether it's invisible or not. So I'm just going to click directly on it, and I'm also going to click Shift on my keyboard and click on the opposite side. So we'll just get this done a little bit faster and use the same raw butt fuzz tail, click and drag like we did before, and it's going to be textured. Now for this base tail right here that's red, that means it's invisible. So I'm going to click directly on it, and you look at my window, it's white, meaning it's not textured, with the new raw Sergal textures. So we're just going to go look for the raw tail like we had before, with the little transparencies in the middle. Click and drag it, and it may not show up here, but when you swap out to the fluff or the feathers, they'll both be textured properly. You won't have like a white tail or a purple tail, whatever your base avatar is colored. So that upper half is ready to go and completely done. Now we're going to move on to the lower half, which has some little transparencies, as you can see with the fluff. We'll work on this fluff towards the end. But for now, we do have this transparent little spot right here. So we're going to right-click Edit the tail, select Face, and we're going to click on this directly. It's going to say it's invisible. I mean, right here, the color, it's that little checkerboard pattern. Whenever that checkerboard pattern is there, that means it's transparent. It'll say right here next to it, transparency 100%. So that's meaning it's invisible. You can't see it. So I'm clicking on a different part of the tail, and the color is now white, the checkerboard is gone, and the transparency is set to 0, which is meaning that that's the texture that's currently visible to you. So we're going to want to do both of them because just to be safe, you never know, you might get tired of the fluff, you want to go back to the feathers and vice versa. So we're just going to go ahead and select both of these by clicking one, pressing shift on your keyboard, and then clicking the other one. We're going to bring up our inventory again. Look for the raw tail. This one again, bringing it up, click and drag over to your window, and that's going to, let me go ahead and disable this. That's going to texture the transparent parts. Now if for any reason this were to become, let me just try it this way. If it were to go to none and it's just solid like that, you'll go to your build menu, and right next to that little texture window, you're going to see a tab that says alpha mode. If it's on none, you change it to alpha masking. And if it's not set at 80 or 100, just go ahead and manually type it in 100 and then press enter, and then you'll have what you see right here. So if that ever happens, remember, alpha masking, set it to 80 or 100, manually typing it in. Don't forget about that, okay? Or else it's just going to look blah. So Alt Control T again, and that'll bring up the invisible and transparent parts. We're going to click directly on this solid part, which is the flexy part of the tail, and we're going to use the same raw tail texture we've been using before, the one with the transparencies in the middle. Click and drag, and there you go. The whole thing is textured. You might be wondering, hey, she forgot the fluff textures. Well, no, she didn't, because I believe all the Sergals have white fluff no matter what color you get. So you can just do a quick move and then edit linked parts in your build menu, and then just start selecting the fluff itself to recolor. It's really, really simple. I think there's only like four textures, my apologies. 4 textures you need to select. Yeah, it's pretty easy. Shift and click, shift and click. And if you want to change the colors, just do this. Do that, bring up your regular old palette and just find whatever color you want. But for now, we're going to leave it white. And then just Control Z everything until everything goes back to normal, and there you go. So with that, the tail is done with all the textures that Bezzi has included for you. Moving on to the ear. This will work with either the short, southern, or the northern ears, whichever ones you prefer. For now, we're going to right-click Edit Ear and go to our inventory once more and look for the raw ear texture, which is this one. You'll have gold and shiny and little dark color palettes. It's so beautiful. You just want to kiss it. It's so beautiful. So we're going to go to Edit Linked Parts and select Face on our build menu once more. Believe me, guys, this will be your best friend whenever you're texturing mesh avatars, because they have so many multiple faces, and it'll be apparent right here when we start working on this fluff, okay? So, trust me, it may be difficult, but with practice, you'll be sure to get this, and remember, you can always go back on this video. Rewind it, stop where you want it, just until you get it. It's really, really not as hard as it seems. So, with Edit Linked Parts and Select Face enabled, we're going to click directly on the base ear, the main ear, the big chunk. So, we're going to click here, bring up our inventory, look for the raw ear, which is once again this one. Same idea, click and drag, and that'll retexture the base part. Now, unfortunately, I believe we cannot do Edit Linked Parts with this, because with Silver's meshing technique, all these fluff parts are attached. They were meshed together to this base ear. So in order to texture these without, let's see, I'll just do this so y'all can see. I'm going to just not even edit linked parts. So the whole ear is selected, correct? But there's no select face. Click and drag it, and that just looks nasty. That's not what we want, guys. So this is why you need to have select face enabled in your build menu when you go through editing the textures on the fluff. So select face is on, click the fluff, and we're going to look for body fuzz right here. Alright, we're going to click and drag it to our window, and that's going to retexture it, see? It's gone. But look, we still have the other side, so that's why we need to have select face. We're going to click that side, same idea, head body fuzz, click and drag it, and we're just going to keep doing this until it disappears and we get all the fluff the way we want it to, okay? So just take your time, there's no rush, this is your avatar, no one else is going to wear it but you. And we still need this inside part, and it is done. There we go. The entire ear is textured correctly. Well, don't worry about this part, that's going to be hidden inside your head. So don't worry about it, but basically that's what the ear is going to end up looking like. You're only using 2 textures for the ear, and that ear is done, so we have 3 parts done for the avatar so far. This is again where your select face will be your best friend, trust me. Okay, here's the foot. We're going to go to edit linked and select face again, and I'm going to do Control-Alt-T on my keyboard, and that'll make, give everything a red tint. It's just showing you what's invisible and what's a PNG texture. A PNG texture is when you can see the checkerboard in the background. That's how you know it's a PNG/transparency texture. And we're going to utilize that when we go to our raw hands and feet textures. So this one texture has our leg, our foot, our hand, fingers, and finger fluff texture. So don't think, oh, Bezzi missed a texture. No, she didn't, sweetheart. It's all here, okay? You're not missing anything. Bezzi and I know what we're doing. So we're going to click directly with select face and edit linked parts on. Click on the toes with shift pressed on your keyboard. Click, 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 and they're all highlighted. These top faces are selected, so we're going to click drag the raw hands, feet, legs texture onto our window, and that's going to retexture those faces. But when you cam underneath, you're going to see, hey, the fluff is still white. Well, that's because that's a different face. We did not retexture the entire thing. We're going to have to do select face again. So same thing, select face, click one texture, hold shift on your keyboard, and click the other one. Keep going over here, and this last one over here. So they're all selected, and do the same thing, raw hands, feet, legs, click and drag, and it's retextured. See? That's not so bad, right? But guess what? When you fly, you're going to have your little toes down here. They're going to still be white. We don't want that. So, we're going to click 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 toes. You can bring your HUD up, your Kinzart HUD, and make your toes visible. I believe there's a fly option. Just go ahead and change your toes to fly just to retexture it. But for now, this is what I'm going to do because this is what I'm used to. So select them, same idea, click and drag, and it'll change here. You can't see it here because it's invisible, but you can see it here. So we're also going to have to choose this one, which is the inside fluff. Oops, not that one. There we go. This one. And you'll see it when you bring up your HUD. I'm just making it more difficult for myself, but that's just how I do. That's just how I do, guys. I'm sorry. Oops, forgot this little guy right here. Right there. Same idea we did with the other toes. Click and drag. And that should be it. Let's go ahead and turn that off. And your foot is ready to go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Awesome. So here we go to the leg. We're almost done, guys, believe me. I know this is a long video, but this is a really complicated avatar, but it's worth it. I mean, let me just see if I can cam over here. Look at Siriana. She's killing it, and I'm just there like, yeah, she's killing it. So this is what the end result's gonna look like. Don't you want to look like that? Well, we gotta go through all this over here, okay? We're almost done, guys. Stay with me. Right-click, edit the tail. This one's a bit easier, so we're just going to go to Edit Linked Parts and select Face, and click directly onto the leg. Bring up the inventory, and look for the same texture we had before, the raw hands, feet, legs. Click and drag it to our window, and your entire leg is retextured. But you might notice that we have some fluff down here. So we're going to go back to the body fuzz, right here. Click directly onto the fluff with Select Face enabled. Click and drag it, and it's retexture. Look at that. Oh, that's so freaking awesome. Oh wait, look, we have leg fuzz. My bad. But there we go, fixed. See, that's even better. Don't do what I did. I used the raw head body fuzz. I'm sorry, that's not it. You'll see another texture that says leg fuzz. That's the one you want to use. My apologies. My bad. And I did practice before this stream anyway, so we'll see. Anyway, onto the hand, which is the same idea as we had for the leg. You have some little fluff on the sides and underneath that you want to catch. So let's go ahead and do select face and edit linked. Click directly onto the palm of the hand. Bring up the hands, feet, legs texture. Click and drag it to the window. And the palm is already retextured on the outside. But if you cam underneath, you're going to see this fluff is still white. So we're going to click directly on it. Watch out for the invisible fingers. And look for the same texture, drag it over. And it changed it to black. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Uh-oh, but look at that. It's still white. Oh, so we're just going to click directly on that with select face. Click and drag the texture, and look at that. It's come on, it's easy, guys. We're getting it, okay? We're gonna get this. We're gonna get through this, okay? Don't let this intimidate you. I can get this fluff to just cooperate. Come on. You're making me look bad. There we go. So we're just gonna keep doing that until all the fingers are done. But for now, we're gonna concentrate on these fingers, and then we'll go back to the fluff. So Control-Alt-T so I can see what I'm clicking on. And I'm going to click on the visible ones, the white ones. So select face, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget to hold down Shift on your keyboard in order to select more than one object or face. So click and drag the raw hands, feet, legs into the window. And there you go, look at that. But if you cam underneath, you'll also see the fluff is still white. We don't want that. We want everything to match. We want everything to be consistent. So we're going to click on the fluff for each finger, click and drag that same texture until we turn everything to the black texture, alright guys? Unless you don't really use these hands, then you don't need this part of the tutorial. But guess what? We're already here to the head, the most difficult part to texture. So bear with me. Even I'm getting a little nervous as I'm staring down this multiple-faced avatar head. You'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, right-click edit. And as you can see, there's a lot of invisible parts. That's the eyebrow states. And then we have the invisible eyelashes for the different blinking states. And I think we also have some smiling and frowning lip states. And even the blinking eyelid states. So we have a lot to retexture. But really, the eyes are very, very easy. It's just this fluff back here that might get you. But I'll walk you through it, so don't worry. So once again, edit linked and select face. And we're just going to click directly on the back of the head. Bring up the inventory, and we're going to look for the raw head and jaw texture, which will look like this. Alright, it's going to look so pretty with its gold highlights and the fur. Bezzi's been killing it lately with the fur textures. She's been such a great influence on me. So we're going to select that texture while we're clicking directly on the head and click and drag it to the window like we've been doing before. But as you can see, it only textured a part of the head. That's okay. We can just click on the one that's not textured, click and drag the same texture, and it's there. See, it's perfectly mirrored, and we're getting there. We're going through the textures. We're going to click down here, and gradually we'll start seeing, hey, we need to texture this half. Hey, we need to texture that half. It's pretty easy. Pretty easy so far. For the jaws, do the same thing. Oh yes, we have little chin fluffs. Chin fluffs. Click and drag. And the other side, click and drag. Also the fluff. I believe this one she used the body fuzz. Let's just see. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Underside as well. We're going to use the head body fuzz. Click and drag. There we go. Doesn't that look awesome? But Control-Alt-T, you'll see she has, or the jaw has another fluff texture. Harley, you're being so silly. Mama's working. Same idea. Bring up your jaw HUD on the HUD, and I believe it's different fluffs that you need to just work with. But for now, we're just going to do this part that's visible, alright? We do have the, let's see, the eye states right here. So I'm going to go ahead and Control-Alt-T and click Move. That'll just disable the select face, but we will have the edit linked parts enabled. So I click directly on the eye state, the blinking parts. If you click it right here, you're going to see this is black, and we have a solid line in the texture window. That's the eyelash. We don't want to texture that. No, 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 no. We're going to click right here next to the eyelashes, and once you see the head texture, that's where you need to click. That's what you want to retexture. You don't want to retexture the solid line, that's the eyelash. Click right here. And we're going to also use the head jaw texture like we've been using for this part of the avatar. Click and drag it, and you'll also catch every single eye state right there. Watch as she blinks. See? There's no white spots, there's no missing textures. So that's pretty simple, right? Let's do it to the other side. One more time. One more time. Edit linked parts. Click right here. I see the head texture, that's what I want to retexture. Click and drag it, and there we go. See, we didn't do it to the eyelash, it's perfectly fine. Now we have the eyebrow states. Control-Alt-T to bring it up. That's for, of course, I believe it's angry, sad, normal, furrowed, whatever the options are in the HUD, but really, right now, this is all we're going to work on with whatever is visible. Just bring up your HUD and just see whatever parts you're missing. Just same thing, just go back through this tutorial and do the same thing. So for now, I'm just going to click on these two solid parts with Control-Alt-T enabled, and we're going to also click and drag the texture to the window, and that retextured one side. Do the other side, and Control-Alt-T, and there you go. See, so far we're getting there. We're getting there, guys. We're almost done. Now, as for the eyebrow states, Control-Alt-T, we're going to have Select Face enabled, and we're going to use the Raw Head Body Fuzz texture that we've been using before. Alright? So we're going to click and drag it over to the window with the eyebrow states selected, and that'll retexture that half, but you look over here and it's still white. So click and drag after clicking it, and there you go. Let's do the same to the other side. I'm going to make this a little bit quicker, so I clicked this side. I'm going to cam over here, hold down Shift on my keyboard, click that one, click and drag the texture, and there you go. Look at that. See, we did two textures in one little texture change. Isn't that freaking awesome? Shift is your friend. Don't ever forget that. Now this fluff back here, this is going to be the tricky part, but you'll get it. You'll get it. Select face still enabled. Just go down the line. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4 little areas selected. I'm going to use the same one, Raw Head Body Fuzz. Click and drag, and it retextured this entire half. We're going to cam over here and see the back is still white, so we're going to click it again, click and drag, and there you go. So that part is done. We still have these little fluffs back here that need to be retextured, but for now let's just go to the other side and get this done. So I'm clicking this side, camming over here, holding Shift on my keyboard, clicking the back part of the fluff, and then I'm clicking and dragging, and that's going to take care of two sides at once when I retexture. Alright? Here, we can go ahead and just, I think we can cheat here. Deselect Select Face by clicking Move. I'll do it again. Select Face is enabled. We're going to disable it by clicking Move. But Edit Linked Parts is still on. Don't turn it off. Do not turn off Edit Linked Parts. We're going to start clicking Fluff. Remember, hold Shift to select multiple objects. So this is how many I have selected, I'm sorry. And you saw that I was missing one little fluff, so we did that. Went back. I'm just moving it so you can see what I have selected. You don't have to worry about moving them. And we're going to go to the Raw Head Body Fuzz. Click and drag it, and that'll select both sides. You see that? That's not so bad. I'll show you the harder part, which you should probably avoid doing here because it's going to be multiple sides. So I'm clicking this big fluff right here. I'm going to retexture it. You cam over here and you see it's a two-sided face. We don't want to do that, so I'll just keep it easy with Edit Linked Parts and start selecting everything. All the fluff here that's not textured. Da da da. Almost done, guys. Bear with me. click and drag the fluff. There you go. See? That's not so bad. Was that really so bad? Now you're gonna look so killer. You will look fierce. Everyone's gonna be so jelly of you. They'll be like, where'd you get that mod? And you'll be like, bit avatar mods. Go get you one. So, that's the basic tutorial, or not so basic tutorial, for texturing the Kinzart Sergal with the B mod kit, the Ra Sergal mod. So if you have any questions, be sure to message myself, SynodaMae Sonnenkern, or Bezzi Velinov, and we'll do our best to help you, or feel free to go through this video at your leisure. There's no rush when it comes to texturing avatars. Take your time. Make copies of your parts. If you screw up, don't worry. Delete it, res out a new copy. That's why they are copy friendly. It's such a freaking amazing thing. So for now, that's everything you need to know. If you have any questions, like I said, let us know. Message us. We'll be here when y'all need us. Thank you very much for supporting BI Mods and projectMAEHEM Industries. Thank you guys. We'll see you again soon.